Hi, and welcome back to Using My Degree. I'm your host, Ollie, and this episode is all about chocolate. Well, this is chocolate part one. And, I gotta say, we're recording this on, National Chocolate Day?
International Chocolate
Oh,
Day.
yes, my apologies. International Chocolate Day, if you can believe that. You won't, because there's no evidence. Whoops!
Oh my god.
But today we're going to learn about chocolate. What is it? Where does it come from? Where will it go? Where did it come from, Chocolate Eye Joe? That was bad, but not as bad as how I feel inside. We're cutting that one out.
I don't think you should.
If you hear any weird noises in the background, as I've mentioned in the previous episode, I live in a New York apartment, and boy oh boy do noises come with it. And so does little space to record things, so I'm in a hallway. Along with Jesse, once again. You remember him from last week, and if you don't, he's here to introduce himself again.
Hello, it's Jesse Koones. I am a chocolatier at an Indian restaurant, Junoon, in Flatiron, right next to Madison Square Park. So happy International Chocolate Day.
Thank you, Jesse. For this chocolate day, and for any other day when you happen to have chocolate woes and worries, we're going to be talking about, well, what is chocolate and where the fuck does it come from? Good question, me. Chocolate is a fruit, an exotic fruit, that comes from Mexico. Originally cultivated in Mexico by the Aztecs, and I think that's it. I was wrong. Originally cultivated in Mexico by the Aztecs for rituals of medicinal purpose, as well as for getting closer to the gods. Now a commodity, because colonizers can't let anyone have anything nice for too long.
Was it just Mexico, or was it also South America? Because there's like a lot of I've heard of a lot of cocoa plants that are from that region. I don't know if they just went there from Mexico or if they were already there.
I believe that chocolate was originally grown in Mexico and cultivated there, but due to colonization and how plants typically travel, it made its way to other parts of the world out of both horrific colonizer demand and, well, the way of things.
Right.
Maybe you may be asking, is chocolate come from beans? Because you always hear cocoa beans. They're not beans, if you believe that. They're like a weird fruit. They're like a weird white fruit.
Pulpy.
They're very pulpy. Yes. Imagine, if you will, a beautiful, lavish cacao pod. It is bright purple. Maybe yours is bright purple, but mine is it's speckled with red and yellow hues.
Yeah.
Haha, I gave you the shitty purple pod.
Are the purple ones shittier?
No, this is a joke because there's no such thing as a purple cacao pod.
Really? I feel like I could believe that though. I haven't seen one, but it's something that sounds believable enough.
Yeah, it does sound believable enough. Oh, if you hear the screaming in the background, that's because a truck is trying to make its way through. That truck is called a fire truck.
Oh well, I definitely needed that that classification there.
Oh yes, the classification of fire truck. I think my other co-host's neighbor's house might be on fire again.
Not again.
I hope not again. This week has been a goddamn travesty, but you, the listener, don't need to know anything beyond that. Oh, it's getting louder.
Yeah, no, they're coming for you.
Jokes aside, let's get back to chocolate. Chocolate is a delicious ingredient, and we all know that. It's absolutely wonderful. It's been my obsession for years. Now you may be thinking to yourself, is white chocolate chocolate? Two experts weigh in.
Oh my god, that is such a common question that if I ever get into chocolate discussions with people, it's always got to include, is white chocolate actually chocolate? And I want you to answer this one first.
I mean, yes. If you can temper it, it's chocolate. It's like saying ruby chocolate isn't chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's actually my view as well. I'm not one of those people that likes to hate on white chocolate. Like, obviously, it doesn't have as much of the cocoa solid flavor as, milk or dark, but that's kind of the point. It's chocolate that you can apply your own flavors to and use as a more neutral flavor when you're trying to make a ganache that has something that's maybe a little bit more delicate that you don't want to try and cover up with the cocoa flavor. Like I agree, if you can temper it, then it deserves respect as at least a chocolate.
Cool. Did you know you could temper Hershey bars?
Yeah, I can't. You see, okay, I don't believe that.
You actually can. I've done it. I've done it before. It sucks.
No, because they don't. The reason why Hershey bars are so much cheaper than any other kind of chocolate is because they don't actually use cocoa butter.
Turns out Hershey bars do use cocoa butter.
They started using cocoa butter?
They've always used cocoa butter.
You can't tell me they've always, because they literally pride themselves on being cheap.
You want to know why they're so cheap? It's because they use an ingredient called PGPR, which is supposed to simulate cocoa butter, but they still use cocoa butter in conjunction with that when they haven't stooped as low as British Cadbury. I swear to God, if I find a British person eating a Cadbury bar, I will. I don't know what I'll do.
Don't go there.
I will not kill the British. That is a joke. That is a joke for television. This is not a television. This is your Spotify radio.
No comment on that. I have some British friends.
Jesse Koones, you can still say fuck the British.
I don't want to. I'm not salty over the Revolutionary War. You know, the past is the past.
This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a centrist.
A centrist of chocolate.
The chocolate centrist. It's his brand new title.
Oh my God, that I don't even know how that would work, but it sounds interesting.
And now you may be wondering where the energy for this episode is completely different than the episode that came before, and it's because shit happened within the hour between exotic fruit and chocolate. And you may be thinking to yourself, what in God's name could have happened within a single hour? And the answer is, do you hear the engines? Holy shit.
What about the dogs?
You hear the dogs, you hear the engines. There was a mouse here. God, there was everything.
He was cute.
Someone started crying. That someone was me. There was a mouse in here, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. It's Manhattan. I mean, no, it's not Manhattan. It's Brooklyn.
Welcome to Brooklyn, baby.
Welcome to Brooklyn.
Welcome to Brooklyn, fire truck that's going by at top speed.
Oh, Brooklyn's on fire like 90% of the time.
Do you know that we found like a missing person from Tennessee literally outside on a dirty mattress?
This is literally getting as off topic as possible.
Yeah, so chocolate. Chocolate. Now you may be thinking to yourself, what's the optimal chocolate to buy for my application? And well, it depends on what you plan on making.
Not Hershey's.
Don't use Hershey's, despite the fact that the big Hershey bars are being advertised for baking now for some reason.
Yeah, I think they only recently added cocoa butter because they got completely slammed in the past. I remember when I first started getting into chocolate that I was told, even by my instructor at the Culinary Institute, that like the reason why Hershey's is so cheap usually is because instead of cocoa butter, they've always used, like vegetable shortenings and fats that kind of like simulate the chocolate kind of taste. I think it was like what you were touching on with that, what was it called?
PGPR.
PGPR. It's something like that where they kind of just replaced cocoa butter. If it doesn't have cocoa butter in it, then it's not chocolate, in my opinion. Then you cannot call it chocolate.
Yes.
Like Cadbury.
Cadbury is not chocolate. Cadbury is a compound chocolate. We'll get into compound chocolate in a moment.
Or Nestle.
Nestle is just evil. Also, Hershey's is
Hershey's is evil, but I feel like Nestle is even more evil just because of the level of like inhumanity not relating to chocolate.
Yeah.
Like they go beyond, like Hershey's, they're bad. They're a bad chocolate company. But Nestle, they've also done things that are evil outside of chocolate and inside of chocolate.
Yeah. Do you care?
They're making it more interesting. They're giving a dog's perspective on chocolate.
I guess I should have said in the first not the first. I mean, fuck it.
In the intro.
I should have said this in the intro, but if you hear dogs barking, I apologize. I have 4 of these furry little monsters, and they would not shut the fuck up.
And they're giving their insight on chocolate. We just can't understand them.
Their insight is, please don't feed us chocolate, we will die. And just don't feed.
They don't know that. They don't have science.
Honey knows that. Hi, I have 4 dogs, and they have stupid names. We got Honey, a small little brown dog. Brownie, a small little white dog. We got Jumbo, who he weighs like 65 pounds. He is a pit mix, and he's a bastard. And then there is Teddy, a skinny brown dog who looks like a red fox red lab. Whatever, who gives a shit. And man, oh man, do I just want to throw him into my arms with affection. I saved it.
You.
We have gotten immensely off topic.
Yeah, it happens.
Back to where we were.
So chocolate.
Chocolate! So, you may be thinking, what in God's name should I ever use dark chocolate for? And if you're not a religious person, you may be thinking, what the fuck do I use dark chocolate for? So you use it like this. In anything you want to use it in. Just don't put it in chili. I beg of you.
Wow.
Oh god, yeah, let's get into percentages. Anywhere from, I would say, the 55% to 100% range is dark chocolate. Anywhere from 90 to 90 to 100%, that is ultra bitter. 80 to 85% is really kind of pushing it, but 70 and below to 55 is like, that's what I call eating range.
Unpopular opinion, very unpopular opinion, but dark chocolate like above 80% is kind of booty.
I also agree, because I think it tastes like dirt.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It gets really gritty after a certain point, and it just does not have enough cocoa butter in it to like actually just. It doesn't, and the lack of sweetness. You're literally only using that for flavor. If you have higher than 80% dark chocolate, you're either a cynic and you love making your mouth dry out and have astringency in it, but you're also using it for flavoring things like that. It's actually a very efficient way to like flavor up a ganache that you want that dark chocolate aspect to come out of, but just be careful because a little bit goes a long way.
An astounding insight, because I completely agree. I found some chocolatiers that are like, try our double dark chocolate midnight bonbon, and you take a taste of it, and it feels as though you have just shoveled a bunch of dirt into your mouth, and there is no sugar, and there is no salvation.
Chocolatey dirt.
Chocolate dirt. Oh boy, chocolate dirt. That's what I would call like Oreo crumbs, not whatever that bonbon from hell is.
Fun fact though, I have heard also that chocolate that's over like 80% cacao, like cocoa solids, is actually also very healthy for you from certain perspective. Like if you, it's like wine, where if you have like a glass once a week or every other week, like it's supposed to do wonders for your heart health. That's it. It could be it could be just like something that is a rumor that a lot of chocolatiers have talked about, but it is something that I have heard, and I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but the lack of sugar and dairy leads me to believe that it's possible to be true.
Thank you. We now move on to, what do I use milk chocolate for? And well,
Everything.
he says everything.
Absolutely everything. Like, you can use it so liberally.
And so milk chocolate, as he said, use it for everything. I would say, to give some depth of flavor to your chocolate chip cookies, add that with the semi-sweet, some chopped milk chocolate. Make hot chocolates out of milk chocolate. It's delicious for ganaches. Great for bonbon fillings.
Drinking ganache.
Yes, drink the milk chocolate. I did that a lot growing up with a Hershey bar mixed into hot milk.
Oh my god, Hershey's.
Shut up, I had a love of it.
Oh my god. This was back before they had cocoa butter in their chocolate.
Listen, it was purchased for me by my beloved great aunt who is no longer with us.
Oh,
Therefore,
that was like
that was like 15 years ago. I still miss her every day, but yeah.
I actually have an a grandpa that that died a long time ago that I really miss.
Oh, I'm so
So I
sorry.
get that.
Oh boy. God, how much of this is gonna be chocolate and how much of this is gonna be trauma by the end of this recording? Where the fuck was I? Oh yeah.
Well, we were talking about all the uses of milk chocolate, and I have to revise my statement. It's not necessarily for everything, but it's definitely a lot more usable than extremely dark chocolate. Mm-hmm. And I have to say that even though it has like dairy and milk solids in it, it's a good way of easing people into certain chocolatey items. especially for people who aren't like that much in love with the intense flavor of dark chocolate. Milk chocolate is like you could enjoy it on its own, and you can enjoy it like in moderate in like larger amounts, because with dark chocolate you can only eat so much. You can only use so much too. It'll be super bitter if you use too much dark chocolate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would say it does depend on the brand.
It does.
Because when it comes to, like, say, hi, I'm obsessed with New Zealand, so I'm going to talk about the Whittaker Company for a good 5 minutes of your time.
Ooh, good.
So, the Whittaker Company has a very long line of amazing products that, unless you're a New Zealander, are most likely never going to get your hands on. Sorry.
New Zealand's far.
New Zealand is far, but Canada's closer, and they only have a very limited range of those bars.
They're all former parts of the British Empire.
Hi, that's my downstairs neighbor who does not know I'm doing this today.
Cool. They're about to find out.
Yeah. That's Browna. Shit.
Who?
That's my downstairs neighbor Browna. Talk about chocolate. I'm gonna be right back.
All right. So, chocolate. Let's talk about white chocolate. So, white chocolate is good for when you want to flavor something and you don't want that cacao, like cocoa solid type flavor. Like, you know, with milk and dark that you actually taste like the cocoa solids. With white chocolate, you do taste the dairy. Sometimes you'll taste vanilla. But you should also get a little bit more of the hints of cocoa butter. Cocoa butter is very aromatic. And I use it primarily for when I make ganaches and I want something to come out and I don't want the flavor to have to battle the cocoa essence of it. So, for example, like I have an aloe or a mezcal, aloe mezcal bonbon, and I make a mezcal ganache. And I use white chocolate so that I could get a little bit more of the subtle nuances of mezcal. It's a little smoky, it's a little like spicy at times depending on what you get. Not like capsaicin spice, but like it's got like some kind of baking spice qualities to it at times. So yeah, like if you're trying to make a flavored ganache, then you're likely going to want to use white chocolate for that. Other than that, like I think also it's worth mentioning that if you're making a ganache and you want to really get a flavor through, it's like something that's very weak and mild. You don't actually even really need to use white milk or dark chocolate. You can also use cocoa butter as a stabilizer for your ganache.
Whatever he said, I'm pretty sure it was incredibly informational and resourceful.
You're part of the Brownie Bitten Club, apparently.
Hello, this is my friend Browna,
Yes,
also
sorry.
upstairs
Hello,
neighbors.
Nice to meet you. Okay.
Hello, podcasting world. If you hear my neighbor, this is my neighbor Browna.
Hello, and I'm getting out of your way now.
You're fine, don't worry. Hi, we're sitting on her stairs.
The more the merrier, right?
This is what Brooklyn's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
BK. Not Burger King.
Not Burger King, Brooklyn King.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Woo.
Yay!
We're at 25 minutes and I'm pretty sure it's all bullshit.
Yeah, most of this is bullshit. I actually said some stuff that you're probably gonna want to cut out. I
Don't worry, I'll
stopped.
put it in the I'll kill you folder.
Yeah, you could put it in the. I don't know.
It's okay.
For me, it's hard to talk about chocolate unless like I'm being given like direct questions. So
I think we can save this if I try to save this. Alright, now I'm going to talk about tempering. Tempering is the act of aligning cocoa butter crystals so they have this nice snap and shine. And most people don't know how to do that.
yeah. So when tempering chocolate, yeah, obviously you do your temper test. You'll put it on like a spatula or something. And within 3 to 5 minutes, the chocolate should set. You'll know the chocolate's set because if you gently touch the surface, it doesn't leave a fingerprint anymore. if you touch the chocolate, it won't leave a fingerprint, and that's how you'll know it's set. Now, if it's streaky, then that means that you need to it's underseeded, which means that it needs more stirring. It possibly needs more cocoa butter or chocolate. It should be shiny, as Ollie said. And snap, obviously, if you bend the spatula or anything, like the chocolate should like kind of almost crack off of it. That's a good tell that the chocolate is very well tempered. The faster it sets and sets with shine without streaks, the more perfect the temper is. And by that I mean like 3 minutes. If it sets before 3 minutes, either maybe your work environment is a little too cold, or it could possibly even be overseeded, but that's unlikely. I do also use the seeded method because to get the other methods are they have their caveats, and B, seeding is just like the most traditional way. The other ways of tempering chocolate included are also tabling, in which you melt down chocolate to about like 45 degrees Celsius. Then you pour, like, I want to say 20% of it onto a marble. It does have to be either a marble or like a granite or a slate or something that will absorb the temperature of the chocolate. And you move it around with using 2 spatulas, trying to like agitate it and force the crystallization of the chocolate. Another actual method, though, that I've learned about that I would like to recommend for anyone out there who's interested in tempering chocolate. This is actually a particularly faster way of tempering chocolate, and it's something that I've simulated in my I haven't done exactly, but I've simulated in my chocolate kitchen, is the ice bath method. Basically, you melt down your chocolate over a bain-marie. Always do that, by the way. If you can melt it in a microwave, but you're more likely to burn the chocolate, which will ruin part of the chocolate, and you'll get a nasty clump in there. But after you use a bain-marie to after you use a
Puppy, shut up.
After you use a bain-marie to melt the chocolate, you take the bowl of chocolate off the heat and you stir it around. You add your seeded. So basically, how it works is once you've taken your bowl of chocolate off heat, you stir in your chocolate, your seeded chocolate. And by the way, when you're seeding, doing the seeding method of tempering chocolate, you want to use 25% of the chocolate that you've melted. So, for example, if you melted down 1,000 grams of chocolate, you're going to want to add like 250 grams for seeded. Anyways, though, once you've added your chocolate in, you let it get to the point where the seeds have just about melted. And at that point, you start cooling it down a little bit with the ice bath right next to it. Obviously, you don't want to get any water or any any water or any ice in the chocolate, because that will obviously create separation and ruin the chocolate. But using the cold to bring the temperature down, you want to bring your chocolate to about 27 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is where the proper crystallization starts. And you only leave it on the ice bath for short, like 3 to 5 second intervals, just to bring the temperature down gently. But yeah, actually, when I do the chocolate tempering at Junoon and I do the seeding method, what I do, and you might actually get a kick out of this, Ollie, is I melt down the chocolate. I add the seeds. Once the seeds are like just about like completely melted, I go down to the walk-in fridge and I stand in the walk-in fridge with a big bowl of chocolate, like stirring it like crazy, just like trying not to incorporate air bubbles, but still stirring it and agitating it. You can always put the chocolate on the edge of the bowl to help cool it down faster. For the most part, I feel like I'm in a good place.
Alrighty. This episode has been a shit show, but we're making it work.
I think it's been a very fun episode so far.
I believe at one point, before I went to go talk to one of my favorite neighbors, I was talking about chocolate brands before I had Jesse take over. And guess what? There's a lot of chocolate brands I would like to recommend. From anywhere from the beginning chef to the professional pastry chef.
Oh, I have a few to add to there too.
We will take turns on this.
Okay.
I, of course, am a whore for Valrhona, and I would recommend any and all of their products for anyone who just wants to eat chocolate, to people who love working with chocolate. They have chocolates for all of your chocolate needs. My personal favorite is their Caribe 66%. I would eat the entire bag if I could, honestly. It costs $100 usually on like Amazon for that bag. More if you go to worldwidechocolate.com, which is not Amazon, and I understand if you want to support that. Now it is Jesse's turn to talk about a brand he is passionate about.
Okay, well, I wouldn't necessarily go about saying that these are chocolate brands that I'm super passionate about, but there are a lot more options that are on the market that a lot of different chocolate shops use. For example, Felchlin is a Switzerland-based chocolate company. They actually make like a few vegan chocolates as well. They're used by Chef Louis Amato, who, if you don't know who that is, he's one of the world's greatest chocolatiers. He has pretty much invented a ton of the techniques that you'll see flooded all over Instagram whenever you look up like chocolate bonbons or anything. He fathered techniques that that use like a spray of alcohol and water and create like these crater effects on chocolate shells and everything. And he does incredible work with Felchlin. So while I'm not necessarily someone who goes out of my way to buy Felchlin, that's a very good place to start, and a lot of very reputable people use that. On top of Felchlin, another chocolate that I've used is one called Noel, which is not necessarily the highest quality that I've worked with, but it's definitely the best for the price point. I can't comment on how much it was per bag when we got it, but I know that my chef was telling me that the primary reason they got it was that it was a cheaper brand than a lot of the other chocolates that we do, but it's still quality enough to use. It's cheap compared to like say Valrhona, but that doesn't mean it's not. That doesn't mean it's in the same level as like Hershey's. Or Nestle. On top of Felchlin, on top of Noel, there's also Michel Clouzet. I'm almost positive I butchered that name. I'm not good with French.
No one speaks French here, except for maybe the French.
So they're the primary chocolate that I actually use at Junoon, and I would say that they do have very high quality chocolate. I have noticed that it's a little bit pricier than, obviously Noel, and it's actually even comparable to Valrhona, but it's still like worth trying if you ever have the opportunity. It depends on your supplier, your restaurant or kitchen's supplier. What else? There are like other chocolate brands, but
I have many to speak about. Hi, it's me again, and I'm here to talk about things I love. And by that I mean the Guittard Company.
Oh God, really?
I love their chocolate.
I don't hate it. It's not the first chocolate I go for.
I understand. They have hot diggity damn. They have a sweet variety of chocolates. If you're going to pick up chocolate from their company, just pick up any other, what am I trying to say? What I'm saying is, go to your local grocery store. If they have bags of guitar chocolate chips, I would say grab some if they're on sale, but only if they're on sale. It's a chocolate that you buy if it's on sale, really. Like, every time I go to Whole Foods and it's like, oh, get 2 bags of this for $7, that's in my cart immediately. I personally love their super cookie chips, as well as their bright pink bag. It's like a Coma extra semi-sweet. It's 55% cacao, and I love it. I would eat that by the fistful. I am a little freak that would sit in front of the couch watching true crime documentaries, eating fistfuls of chocolate chips.
Oh my god. You're not kidding, though. I know you. Actually, I do want to also speak on the fact that I do have like a slightly different view on chocolate. I'm not hating on Guittard or a lot of those big name brands, but I will also say that there are a ton of artisanal chocolatiers out there that are making a lot of really, really impressive chocolate work. For example, there's this one company. It's both gay owned and an Indian chocolatier. It's called Madhu. I believe they're based out of Texas, and I don't know if I'm like fully able to say this yet, but Junoon is actually working with Madhu to create a Junoon inspired chocolate bar.
I can cut this out if they're not okay with that.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll ask my chef real quick. I mean, I'm sure he's not gonna.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, no, there's chocolate companies like Madhu, which I specifically like to support, like, artisanal, smaller company chocolate bars. They're actually more than you would realize. There's also Milk Boy, which I believe they sponsor. I don't know if it was them or another company that sponsored Billie Eilish. One day she was eating like a vegan chocolate or something. I don't know if it was Milk Boy or if I'm confusing it with something else. But there's this one chocolate company that Billie Eilish, she was eating and she was like posting about on Instagram and such. And like without even like saying or doing anything, they ended up like reaching out to her and like being like, hey, would you like to be one of our sponsors? And they put her face on one of their chocolate bars.
Wow.
And yeah, she's now the face of a vegan chocolate bar brand. I don't know what the name of this company is, but if you like Billie Eilish and you follow her, then you'll probably see it on her profile at some point.
I would like to shout out 2 chocolatiers. One who is here in New York, specifically upstate New York. They are called Fruition.
Oh yeah, Fruition is actually a pretty big name. A lot of the chefs at the Culinary Institute are very much aware of them.
Fruition is one of my favorite places to get chocolate upstate.
Yeah.
They have lovely little flavor combos. They did like a honey lemon ganache pill-shaped chocolate recently. I love their stuff. And they also sell blocks of some of the chocolate that they use for enrobing in 500 gram blocks that anyone can just pick up. I would suggest going in person if you're able to, because their stuff is top notch. And then I'd like to do a shout out to a UK brand called Frankly Delicious. They do vegan chocolate bars. They also do regular chocolate bars. They have these lovely blends. They are very, very small scale. They are UK only. And you know what? I could just sit here and talk about chocolate brands that are small that you should support for probably literal hours, such as Pump Street Chocolate in the UK and Dandelion Chocolate in California. Because those are both excellent. But you have a life to live, and so do we.
Actually, I do have one more chocolate brand to shout out, because they are making seriously insanely awesome they're making seriously insanely awesome chocolates. It's called Compartes, I believe. It is based out of Los Angeles, California. But just definitely look them up. They make amazing chocolate bars with a lot of insane ingredients. You'll see for yourself.
Thank you for that. Actually, I might just check that out later. That sounds really good.
I'm sending you the info.
Thank you. And if you happen to be by Canal Street, please check out our friend Daniel Corpez. He graduated from CIA, and he's genuinely amazing. You may have seen him on School of Chocolate, where he was one of the competitors, one of the youngest competitors, mind you.
Oh yeah.
And he should have won, but we are biased.
He almost did. He almost did win.
Yeah. But there definitely will be a part 2 chocolate episode in the future.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for listening once again to Using My Degree. We'll be back next week.